Assalamu alaikum, peace and blessings. You're tuned in to the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talks, where we talk about life, love, and business.
O Allah, guide me among those whom Thou hast guided aright, and preserve me among those whom Thou hast preserved, and befriend me among those whom Thou hast befriended. Bless me in whatsoever Thou dost grant me, and deliver me from the evil of what Thou hast judged. Surely Thou judges, and none can judge against Thee, and he whom Thou befriendest is not disgraced. Blessed art Thou, O Lord, and exalted be Thee above what they set up besides Thee. I bear witness, nothing deserves to be served besides Thee, and I bear witness that Muhammad is Thy servant and apostle. Amen.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people. Yes, sir. You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself. Yes, sir. There will be a great separation. Yes, sir. So I said, it is on now.
The college is meant to prepare you for your future. That the time dictates that if we don't do something for ourselves as a people, we will be destroyed. And the aim of the enemy right now is to take us out.
We have God with us. We have Him as our guide. Yes, sir. We don't have to stand around here and ask the question, what must be done? Yes, sir. And let's go and do something. Yes, sir. We cannot sit down. We cannot lay down. Yes, sir. We must get up. Yes, sir. And go to work.
Do you know what real joy is in life? Visioning something and bringing it into reality. That's real joy. Do you know what the next step in joy is? Behold how good and how pleasant it is for brethren to dwell in unity.
Tonight, you need to fasten your seatbelts. We're going to hear from some of the greatest minds in the world. I don't know about you, but I'm tired of trusting our future and the future of our children into the hands of those who don't love us. I believe we need to revitalize black leadership.
Assalamu alaikum, peace be unto you, family. You are welcome and ready for the Sajdah Saturday Morning Coffee Talk, where we talk about life, love, and business. Y'all know this. Happy Saturday. I was going to go outside today, but it's chilly. Let me see what the temperature is over here in the Chi. I mean, it literally was like feeling cold. Like I would have needed a little jacket on. It's 59 degrees. So we passed on the outdoor look and went for our trusty indoor Sajdah office look. I hope y'all not getting bored with me in this background because I've been doing it for a while, and I don't generally do virtual backgrounds because sometimes I think they look kind of weird. But I'll try to do a better job at moving things around. How's everybody doing? I had a busy week. We have been working to help preserve the legacy of Reverend Dr. Lewis Rawls, I should say. I don't know how many of you saw the interviews that we had. I posted them on Instagram and Facebook. It's an addition to my new consulting services, which is helping people to preserve legacies and properties in our community. So new arm, new business for your sister. So anyway, today we're going to talk about Queen Esther. I see y'all in the chat. I see Sister Aletha just jumped in here. Morning blessings, everyone. That's me telling you all how to support. Thank you, Mrs. Phoenix, for $10. Thank you, Brother Victor. Assalamu alaikum for joining. Brother Lamont. I see somebody else just cash apped, so thank you. Shirlette just cash apped. Praise be to Allah. Thank you, Shirlette. I was having a conversation. I don't know if you all know my brother and good friend, Eric, who runs the Silver Room. And we were having a conversation this week about how, when we step out here and start doing this work for our people, it takes a lot, right? It's a lot of money, and people have to kind of get used to financing. Freedom ain't free. Freedom is expensive. And so a lot of times people don't want to pay. And so I think it's on us as entrepreneurs to make sure that we give out good information, that we're of value to you all. So you do want to continue to support. Most of us are out here just kind of pushing and trudging along. And we understand the vicissitudes of business, but we also appreciate support from each and every one of you. So I think we got a good show that we're getting ready to do today. It's going to be on Queen Esther. And this is a continuation of the series on connecting women of the Bible to conscious entrepreneurship. Y'all know I just love these spiritual talks over a hot cup of herbal tea. Let's see what I got this morning in here. I got I put some dried calendula flowers in the strainer. I put a little scoop of dried elderberry, and then I got some, what else did I put in there? It was something else I remember. The elderberry, and I'll remember. But anyway, I put this all together. This is good for inflammation and immune support. I was around a lot of people this week, so I like to make sure that I take care of myself with my herbs. So what I do is I put the herbs in the strainer, pour the hot water over it, and just let it steep. And then once it steeps, then I have my tea, and I can make sure I have fresh herbal tea every day. If I use tea bags, I make my own tea bags. And even when I travel, I make my own tea bags and just take them with me in a Ziploc, just to keep myself healthy on the road. So welcome, Leisha X Johnson, A Woman's Strength. Welcome to each and every one of you. All right, let's get started. All right, so our Women of the Bible series today, we're going to talk about Queen Esther, or Queen Hadassah, which is her Hebrew name. But we cannot get into Queen Esther without breaking down Queen Vashti. Let me tell y'all something. It was some drama going down in this palace, and I'm about to tell y'all about it. Because a lot of y'all think your lives is full of drama. My life is like a clear soap opera. Those who know me know that. But this is some drama. This is some real drama that was going down. And what I like to think about all the time when we cover these characters, whether they're historical characters from our Black history, our modern day Black history, like Annie Malone and Ida B. Wells, people like that, or whether they're biblical characters, I like to think about their personality. And I like to kind of gather their energy in my spirit and bring them to life. So we're going to cover Queen Vashti first. And the story of Queen Vashti helps us to understand the tone of the house that Esther would soon become a part of, and the mentality of the king that she would soon marry. Okay. Let me know in the chat if y'all all right. Tara, Hassel, welcome. I see you come on in. All right. Make sure y'all speak to each other in the chat. Anyway, so the book of Esther begins with the story of Queen Vashti. And I thought that the only way to really give respect to Queen Vashti is to actually read chapter 1. It's a short chapter of the book of Esther. So I'm going to read it, and then we're going to go to a quick commercial break to let y'all calibrate. But y'all know I'm an ad lib. Now, according to the Midrash, okay, let me say this. I'll say this part first. I don't want to give away the story. Queen Vashti was the great-granddaughter of King Nebuchadnezzar II of Babylon, the granddaughter of King Amel-Marduk, and the daughter of King Belshazzar. So you can see she comes from some royal blood. Okay, this is Queen Vashti. It would have been an honor to have her as your queen because of her lineage, right? Now, during Vashti's father's rule, mobs of Medes and Persians attacked. They murdered Belshazzar one night, okay, which is her father. And Vashti, unknowing that her father was dead, she ran into her father's quarters. And when she got there, she got kidnapped by King Darius of Persia. But Darius took pity on her and gave her to his son, Ahasuerus, to marry. Okay, so she kind of like was a captive. So let me get chapter 1 queued up here. All right, welcome, brother Lamont. Oh, brother Lamont, you just speaking to people. Yeah, everybody, y'all chit chat, speak to each other. Sister Charlene, assalamu alaikum. All right, chapter 1, the book of Esther, and I'm reading from the Schofield Bible. Because I love the notes, and it's the one that the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan uses, so it's the one I like to use too. We should be using. Anyway, chapter 1, the story of King Vashti. Now it came to pass in the days of Ahasuerus. This is Ahasuerus, which reigned from India even unto Ethiopia, over 107 and 20 provinces. Okay, so he's pretty powerful. That in those days, when the king Ahasuerus sat on the throne of his kingdom, which was in Shushan, the palace, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants. Okay, y'all get that, right? He basically had a feast, or he had a party, right, during the 3rd year of his reign. Okay, the power of Persia and Media, the nobles and the princes and the province were before him. So everybody came to the party. All the royalty, everybody was all about this party, this festival. Okay, and it was a long festival. When he showed the riches, so when he got to the festival, remember he had captured all these other kingdoms. He had just captured and married King Vashti, who was his opponent's son. So he was feeling himself, right? When he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom and the honor of his excellent majesty, many days, even 180 days. That's how long the party was. Okay. And when these days were expired, the king made a feast unto all the people that were present in the Shushan, the palace. So everybody that was up in the palace, he fed them, right? So there was this party for all these days, and then he fed them. Now he's in the court of the garden of the king's palace. All right. So you can imagine a big table, all these people around the table, maybe several tables. So it probably was a real VIP situation to be invited over to King Ahasuerus for this feast. Now, check this out. They said that there were white, green, blue hangings fastened with cords of fine linen and purple to silver rings and pillars of marble. The beds were of gold and silver upon a pavement of red and blue and white and black and marble. So it was very ornate. It was beautiful. And they gave them drink in the vessels of gold. But check this out about the vessels of gold. The vessels being diverse one from another. So they had these vessels that the wine went in, and each one of them was different. Now that's some decor right there. All right, so and royal wine was in abundance according to the state of the king. And the drinking was according to the law. None did compel, for so the king had appointed to all the officers of his house that they should do according to every man's pleasure. Now, also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Ahasuerus. So now the men and all the royal subjects, probably all the top brothers on post, they all was over there with King Ahasuerus. And Queen Vashti, she had her own feast, okay, which was for the women. So I'm sure that was quite a royal affair. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, what y'all think that means? The heart of the king was merry with wine. I mean, Ahasuerus was probably drunk. Okay, he was drinking. He had been drinking all them days. They said enough to the point where they mentioned it in the Bible. Okay, on the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded Mehuman, Bithta, Harbona, Bigtha, and Agatha, Zethar, and Carcass, the 7 chamberlains that served in the presence of Ahasuerus the king. All right, so these are 7 people that work for him. He commanded them to bring Vashti, the queen, before the king and bring the crown royal to show the people and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look on. Now, mind you, if the king is drunk, the rest of the brothers probably was drunk too. And so he's bragging about all of his spoils of war. So he says, yeah, and let me show y'all Queen Vashti and tell her to wear her royal crown. So she probably was wearing it over there with the sisters. So he probably was like, bring it. So he sent 7 brothers on post to escort her over there. I don't know how big the palace was, probably primarily because these royal jewels were on her head. But check out Queen Vashti. But the Queen Vashti refused to come at the king's commandment by his chamberlains. Therefore the king was very wroth. Vashti said, I'm not going over there. Y'all drunk. You just want to show me off, show everybody how fine I am. These jewels. I'm not going there. Plus, I got guests over here, man. I'm ad-libbing. So he was mad. And they said the anger burned in him. So that's probably like the highest level of festivity. He was mad. So in front of his boys, you don't come, you say no. And then the 7 that came to get you got to come back into where he was having his party to say, she said no. Picture that. And imagine the courage of Queen Vashti. She got her nerve right. She's a spoil of war. They captured her from another king. One of his captains felt sorry for her and gave her to King Ahasuerus, and she had the nerve to say no. What principle was she standing on? I don't know what it was, but I want you all to think about that in your brain. Considering all what she had been through and what she probably was facing, she said no. And so he got mad. Then the king said to the wise men, which knew the times, for so was the king's manner toward all that knew law and judgment. So every time he had to make a decision or something happened, he went to the wise men to seek counsel. Okay, that's right. She said what she said. So he went to the wise men, and the next unto him was Karshina, Shethar, Adamatha, Tarnish, Maries, Marcina, and Mumakin, the 7 princes of Persia and Medina, which saw the king's face. So when he went into the wise men, they said they saw his face. He must have been really mad. And which sat at the first of the kingdom. So now, what shall we do, they said, unto the queen Vashti, according to law, because she had not performed the commandment of the king Ahasuerus by the chamberlains. And Memucan answered before the king and the princes, Vashti, the queen, hath not done wrong to the king only, but she also to all the princes and to all the people that are in the provinces of King Ahasuerus. So what they said was, we all offended by her not showing up when King Ahasuerus told her to. So everybody was mad at her. For this deed, he said, of the queen shall come abroad unto all women, so that they shall despise their husbands in their eyes when it shall be reported. The king Ahasuerus commanded Vashti the queen to be brought in before him, but she came not. So now they're worried about the other women, because remember, she was in there having a party among the leadership. And so these are the top women that's over there with her too. So now they're worried about them thinking that they can do and act the way she acted. Basically, they was like, Vashti was showing out, and we don't want our wives being influenced by that. Likewise shall the ladies of Persia and Media say this day unto all the king's princes which have heard of the deed of the queen, thus shall there arise too much contempt and wrath. If it please the king, let there go a royal commandment from him, and let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, and it not be altered. Now they were so mad, they can write a law about Queen Vashti, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, and let the king give her royal estate unto another that is better than she. So they said, since you wouldn't come when he called, don't come at all. We don't want to see you. We can ready to give your royal palace that you over there showing out in, we finna give it to somebody else. Okay. And when the king's decree, which he shall make, shall be published throughout all the empire, all the wives shall give to their husbands honor, both to great and small. Okay, so now all the women, the law done changed. They don't even have the option now to say no because of Queen Vashti. And the saying pleased the king and the princes, and the king did according to the word of Memucan. So they sent these letters out to all the king's provinces, into every province according to the writing thereof, and to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and that if it should be published according to the language of every people. So they sent the letter out, had it translated and everything. Okay, let me give y'all a quick break, and we're going to come back and we're going to get right into Queen Esther. I'll be right back. All right, now I hope you all support the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. I was blessed the other day to have the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan say some beautiful words over me regarding his desire for the completion of the house this year. So I pray that you all support and become a part of this great history. Now, back to our Queen Esther. Let's talk about Vashti. Okay, Vashti wasn't playing. She knew that all of this could potentially go down, but she just was tired. She's like, I'm not going over there. You're drunk. She probably didn't like him anyway because she was given to him. But there's some drama in this palace. Okay. Now, now there's clearly, like I said, King Ahasuerus' house is obviously an interesting place. I'm gonna put it that way. Let's move on. In the 3rd year of the reign of King Ahasuerus of Persia, he banished his queen Vashti, as we just seen, and so he sought a new queen. He said, I want somebody else, because that's what they told him. Get somebody else that's better than her. I don't know what happened to her after they banished her. So the king tells Haggai to gather all the beautiful virgins so he can pick him a new wife. All right. So beautiful maidens gathered together at the harem in the citadel of Susa under the authority of the Enoch Hagar. Esther, who was Mordecai's cousin, was a member of the Jewish community in the Exodus period who claimed as an ancestor Kish, a Benjamite who had been taken from Jerusalem into captivity. Now, Kish was the first father of the king of the Israelites. And in case y'all don't know, a Benjamite was one of the 12 tribes of Israel who were descendants of Jacob and Rachel. The tribes were named after Jacob's sons and grandsons. So of the 12 tribes, you got Asher, Dan, Ephraim, Gad or God, Issachar, Manasseh, Naphtali, Reuben, Simeon, Zebulun, Judah, and Benjamin. And of the 12 tribes, were only 2 that survived were Judah, which was the tribe that Jesus was descended from, and Benjamin. So Esther was the orphan daughter of Mordecai's uncle. All right. So Mordecai's uncle had a daughter. Her name was Esther, another Benjamite. Okay. And upon the king's order, Esther was to be taken to the palace where Haggai prepares her to meet the king. Even as she advances to the highest position of the harem, perfumed with gold and myrrh and allocated certain foods and servants, she is under strict instructions from Mordecai. Now, Mordecai, that's her cousin, but he's also her guardian. So he meets with her every day. She's up in the palace. And he told her, don't tell them that you're Jewish. And so the king sees her, he falls in love with her and makes her his queen. All right. Y'all all right? Right. Okay. Sister Alicia said, I was thinking that too. She must not have liked him. Oh, yeah. All right. Now, so now think about Esther being coached by Mordecai, telling her, and one of his instructions was, now don't tell them who you are. If you go to Esther 4:14, it says that her cousin said, for if you keep silent at this time, relief and deliverance will rise for the Jews from another place. And who knows whether you have not come to the kingdom for such a time as this. That was like prophecy, right? So she trusted God and trusted her cousin. And in Esther 2:9, we see where she gained the respect of the head of the harem, the chief Enoch Haggai. So she's there. She's among all these other maidens. Could very well have been hundreds of them. And she gains the respect of the chief of the harem. And according to Esther chapter 2 and 12, she completed the bridal beauty rituals and waited at least 12 months to meet the king. Talk about patience. 12 months. When it was her turn to meet the king, she took special care to honor his preferences. Because remember, he had gotten rid of Vashti because they felt like she was rebellious. She said no. They probably called her arrogant and all kind of other names. So now here Queen Esther is saying, okay, let me honor his preferences by displaying a spirit of humility and submission. She was trying to be different from Vashti. That's according to Esther 2:15. Now, there is no evidence that the king ever actually fell in love with Vashti. Okay, he probably just thought she was beautiful, and she probably didn't like him neither. She was literally like a prisoner who had been captured and given to them. But Esther, they say, he actually fell in love with. So following her coronation, he married her. Following her coronation as queen, her cousin Mordecai, who, like I said, was like a father to her, he learns of an assassination plot against King Ahasuerus. And he tells Esther, who tells the king in the name of Mordecai. And he is saved. This act of great service to the king is recorded in the annals of the kingdom. So after Mordecai saves the king's life, Haman, the Agagite, who was probably jealous, he was made Ahasuerus' highest advisor and orders that everyone bow down to him. So Mordecai then saved the king's life, but Haman becomes his trusted advisor, his top advisor, and he says, look, y'all got to bow down to me. So now Haman is said to be an enemy of the Jews, they say, and he is the king's top advisor. And remember, Esther is Jewish, but Mordecai told her, don't say nothing. This had to create a lot of tension. I'm sure that Mordecai was probably worried. Now Haman gets mad at Mordecai. He took the fact that Mordecai would not bow down to him personally, and his personal slight ignited his internal hatred for all Jews. When Mordecai was so cold, he had stationed himself in the street to advise Esther. So I guess she had to dip out of the palace to go talk to him so he could tell her what to do in different situations. He refused to bow down to Haman. Haman went and gave King Ahasuerus 10,000 silver talents for the right to exterminate all the Jews in the kingdom because he was so mad at Mordecai. So now using the seal of the king, so in the name of the king, Haman sends an order to the provinces of the kingdom to allow the extermination of the Jews on the 13th of Adar. When Mordecai hears about this, he tells Esther, go tell the king that you're Jewish, because they knew that the king was really in love with Esther, and asked that he appeal or repeal this order. Now, Esther was scared and she hesitated. And she said that she could be put to death if she goes to the king without being summoned. So she couldn't even go in and talk to him, her husband, without being summoned. So here she was being asked to go talk to him without being summoned and tell him that she's a Jew, and that in the midst of the fact that Haman got mad at her cousin and then ordered all the Jews to be killed. So Mordecai just told her, look, you got to try because they're about to kill all of us. So Esther uses her position to intercede for her people. This is bold. She wanted the entire Jewish community to fast and pray for 3 days before she goes to see the king. Mordecai agreed. So she told him how dangerous it was. She told him, I'm worried about being killed. He said, look, just try, do your best. She said, okay, look, go to the people and tell them fast and pray for me for 3 days. And then I'm going to figure this out. Okay. So she knew she needed some spiritual help to get this done. Right. So on the third day, Esther goes to the courtyard in front of the king's palace. She wasn't summoned, but guess what? He welcomed her and he stretched out his scepter for her to touch and offers her anything she wants, up to half of the kingdom. He must have really been in love with her. Just seeing her, he said, you know what? You can have anything you want, baby, up to half of the kingdom. So Esther invites the king and Haman to a banquet she has prepared the next day. She tells the king she will reveal her request at the banquet. Just saying that was bold. He told you to tell him, he gave you an order, and you said, oh, you know what, baby, I'll tell you tomorrow. That wasn't even, look, Vashti got in trouble for just not coming. But now Queen Esther is exercising a little power. So during the banquet or the dinner, the king repeats his offer again. He says, baby, you can have anything you want up to half of the kingdom. And at that time, Esther invites both the king and Haman to the banquet, and that they sitting there, right? So seeing that he is in favor, he is in favor of the king and queen. Let me go back. Haman was there. Haman was feeling good. You know, they'd be drinking. We already knew what happened with Vashti. So Haman was like, okay, I'm in a good place. You know, Mordecai wouldn't bow down to me, but I got invited. And because I got invited, I'm in a good space. You know, he ain't tripping on me and Mordecai, at least not yet. So seeing that he's in good favor with the king and the queen, because remember, Esther got to act like she's cool with Haman. Haman takes counsel from his wife and friends. So now Haman goes back over there to his wife. She hating on Esther and Mordecai, and she tells them to build a gallows and hang Mordecai. As he is in their good favors, he believes he will be granted his wish to hang Mordecai. So he planned, when he went to the dinner, while Esther was going to give her request to ask him to not kill all the Jews, Haman said, well, I'm going to go over there and tell him I want to hang Mordecai, and I bet you he going to let me do it. So he built the gallows, goes to the palace in the middle of the night to wait for the earliest moment he can see the king. So while Esther's trying to save her people, Haman is planning on killing her cousin Mordecai. He's still mad because he wouldn't bow down. And since Mordecai had positioned himself in the street to be able to advise his cousin Esther, Haman probably got madder and madder every time he came in and out of the palace, had to see Mordecai out there posted up in the streets. They got some drama over here, right? Now, that evening, the king was unable to sleep. He had insomnia that night. So he asked that the annals of the kingdom, or like the records of the kingdom, be read to him so that he could fall asleep and become drowsy. When they brought the book with all the records, it miraculously opened to the page that outlined Mordecai's great service. And when the king said, wow, you know, when the person came, brought the book, it opened right up to the detail of Mordecai's service. And the king asked if he had already received a reward. And the attendant said no. So Ahasuerus is suddenly distracted and demands to know who was standing in the palace courtyard in the middle of the night. Remember, I told y'all that Haman was standing in the courtyard in the middle of the night. The king is in there. He can't sleep. He tells them, bring the book. Let me know what's going on in the kingdom. That'll make me fall asleep. They bring the book. They open the book. It opens directly on the narration of Mordecai's service to him. And then he got distracted. I don't know if he looked outside or what, but he said, who is that outside in the palace courtyard in the middle of the night? So the attendants who were with him, they said, oh, that's Haman. And Ahasuerus invites Haman into his room. So Haman, instead of requesting that Mordecai be hanged, he probably got scared because he was out there plotting to kill Mordecai. I mean, if Mordecai was out there and Haman at the same time, they could have gotten into it. And Haman was so mad that he decided to go see the king in the middle of the night and said, look, I'm about to go do this. So when he goes to see the king, he is ordered to take Mordecai through the street. So let me back up. Haman comes in with a plan in his mind that he's getting ready to ask the king if tomorrow he can hang and kill Mordecai because Mordecai won't bow down to him. The king is over here trying to figure out how he can reward Mordecai for saving his life because his attendants just told him, his staff just told him he never got his reward. So then here comes Haman, who comes in with this on his mind, and Ahasuerus says this. He ordered him to take Mordecai through the streets of the capital on the royal horse, wearing the royal robes. And he wanted Haman to yell out, this is what shall be done to the man whom the king wishes to honor. Look at God. Walaikum salam, Brother James. Welcome. Now you got to give it to Haman for being obedient. He probably was even still mad at Mordecai. And after spending the entire day honoring Mordecai, he had to do this all day. He then gets back to the palace and he rushes in to Esther's second banquet. This is according to Esther 7:7, where Ahasuerus is already waiting. So Esther said, I'm about to have this second banquet, and now I'm getting ready to tell him who I am and ask him to not kill my people. Okay, Esther 7:7. Haman comes in from having had to go ride Mordecai around on the royal horse and yell out, what he was told to yell out. Ahasuerus, they come inside, Ahasuerus is waiting. And then when Ahasuerus sees Esther again, he tells her again, listen, you can have anything you want up to half of the kingdom. Esther then tells Ahasuerus that while she appreciates the offer, this is bold, she must put before him a more basic issue. She explains that there is a person plotting to kill her entire people, and that this person's intentions are to harm the king and the kingdom. And when Ahasuerus asks, who is this person? So she tells him, and Ahasuerus probably said, who? Esther points to Haman. And she names him. She said, look, him right there, Haman. I said, girl, wait a minute. So they're at this huge banquet, probably with a big table, servants, guests, lots of food, always got some wine. We already know King Ahasuerus likes to drink and show off. We saw that with Queen Vashti. So here they are having a good time, and he is offering Esther anything up to half the kingdom, and she starts talking about a person who is plotting to kill her and all her people. He don't even know she's Jewish. She tells him that the person has his eyes also on him and his kingdom. So she said, not only does this person want to kill all of my people, but he got his eyes on you and your kingdom. He want to be you. Remember, he wanted Mordecai to bow down to him. So that's when he said, who you talking about? And she pointed to Haman. They said Ahasuerus went off. He was so mad that he went out into the garden to calm down and consider the situation. Y'all know he'd be drinking. He probably was a little tipsy too. Now, while he's in the garden, Haman then throws himself at Esther's feet, asking and begging for mercy. Now, Haman just started all this mess, and he thinks she's going to trust him and take it back? Or maybe he wanted, to beg her not to have him killed. He didn't, I don't know, but he was begging her to show him mercy. I don't know if Mordecai was at the banquet or still out in the street. He might have been there because he had just been honored for saving the king's life. So anyway, upon returning from the garden, the king is further enraged because now he sees this man at the feet of his wife, who he loves so much, and he thinks she's so beautiful. He told her she can have anything up to half the kingdom. He's still already mad, probably a little tipsy. When he comes back in, he sees him just down there begging her at her feet. He thought that Haman was attacking Esther. Told y'all he'd be a little drunk. He orders Haman to be removed from his sight. And while Haman is being let out, Harvona, one of the civil servants, had the courage to snitch, and he told the king that Haman had built a gallows for Mordecai, who had saved the king's life. And in response, the king says, well, hang him on it. Think about that. After Haman was put to death, Ahasuerus gives Haman's estate to Esther. And Esther tells the king about Mordecai being her relative, and the king makes Mordecai his advisor. And when Esther asked the king to revoke the order exterminating the Jews, the king is initially hesitant, saying that an order issued by the king cannot be repealed. Ahasuerus allows Esther and Mordecai to draft up another order with the seal of the king and in the name of the king to allow the Jewish people to defend themselves and fight with their oppressors on the 13th day of Adar. So on that day, the same day that Haman had set for them to be killed, they were allowed to defend themselves in all parts of the kingdom and then rest on the 14th day. And this is a festive occasion to this day. Now, this is a soap opera ready story. How do we draw strength from Esther and her dedication to her people? And how do we draw from Vashti, who demanded respect and refused to be paraded in front of a bunch of drunken men? Both women fought through fear to stand on principle. How many times have you been encouraged to do something that you knew was wrong, but you did it anyway, just because you were afraid or what would happen, or you were afraid of what would happen if you didn't do it? Now you see how quick they were back then to kill people for being disobedient. And these sisters put their lives on the line for a cause or a principle that was bigger than them. A lot of us are sitting around with a calling on our lives. We're sitting around knowing that there are things that we should be doing, but we're afraid to do it. We're scared. We thinking to ourselves, no, I ain't going to do that. Well, think about these two women and think about the times in which they live and think about how bold and courageous they had to be to take the stances that they took, and how they were strategic and how they used their attraction power and everything they had. They band together with their family, their cousins. They fasted and they prayed with the faith that they would get what they want. Y'all all right? Y'all ain't saying nothing. I hope y'all like this story or y'all enjoyed it. Give me some feedback. Y'all ain't saying nothing. Y'all must just be listening. I just thought this was such a captivating story. Now, there's obviously more to the book of Esther. I didn't cover everything. I wanted to stick close to us being able to unravel the personality of Esther and Vashti and really bring them into our spirit and into our mind so that we understand what they faced and we can draw courage from them. See, this is the kind of courage that we have to have as conscious entrepreneurs. It's easy to jump out here and do something wrong and not do business, have people offering you money to do all kind of crazy stuff. But we have to have courage. We have to stop trying to be so safe. We have to stop worrying about what other people are thinking and step out on faith. If that means fast, like she did for 3 days, we have to pray. We have to seek wise counsel, but we got to push forward and make a difference. It's not enough for us to just sit comfortably in our houses and not step out on faith. How do we know we really have the faith that we all claim we have? Because a lot of us are very pious and self-righteous. We think we're really faithful, but we haven't stepped out on anything. We don't really step out. We step out a little bit. We dip our toe into the water. But how many of us have dove in? Let's see what y'all talking about in the chat. Brother Victor said, very informative and attractive presentation. Praise be to Allah. Sister Charlene said, thank you, Sister Sajdah, for shining a light on them. Yeah, let's shine a light on them. Sister Aletha said yes, and she's got some hearts and target emojis. Sister Alicia said it was a great story. Mom got her emojis up there, thumbs up and a smile. So I hope that you all take this for what it's worth and understand that these stories have a modern day twist to them. Excuse me. I think about it when I think about stepping out on faith, when I think about doing things that nobody else is doing. I just don't believe that I was sit here on the planet to just do what other people were doing. Ever since I was a little girl, even when I graduated from college, I wanted to do something different. I wanted to take the knowledge that I learned growing up and in my family. I didn't want to necessarily walk in their footsteps and work where they worked and did what they did, but I wanted to step out. I felt a greater calling on my life. And there had to be a point where in stepping out on that faith, I had to understand that everybody's not going to agree with it. Everybody ain't going to get it, and take a chance that maybe even some people that I love greatly may not get it. I've been very blessed in that people that I love have been supportive, but there's been some people that I love who have not been. And so I'm grateful. I'm grateful that my mother and father have been supportive, and my immediate family have been supportive of what I'm doing. My brother and people directly around me, but a lot of people don't get it. And but when I see women like Queen Vashti and Queen Esther and some of the other powerful sisters that we've covered on this program, this series on the women of the Bible, it gives me courage. It gives me hope. It gives me, I guess I would say, the certainty to go on and keep going and have faith. Because I like to tell you all, and I say, we don't know who we are. We don't know if this stuff really happened or if it was a story written as prophecy about us. We just don't know. Some of the language may throw us off, but when I listen to these stories, they seem very much like modern day Black men and women that I know exist today. And we have to make a difference. And a lot of times people ask me as a business person, they say, well, why do you always put spirituality in it? Because there ain't no getting up out of this without divine intervention. It's just not going to happen. We ain't smart enough to defeat this 400 years of slavery and Jim Crow and Reconstruction and the civil rights movement and the crack epidemic and the police brutality. We need some help. And even when it comes to business, these business people out here have become big, but we can become even bigger because it's our turn and because it's our time. We have to separate mentally and physically from that which is not us, that makes us other than ourselves. And I just believe in my heart of hearts, that this divine intervention is going to bless us in ways that we cannot even count, nor can we even manage to understand. I just believe that in my heart of hearts. And I believe it so much that I won't give up. I know that there's a protection around us when we step out here on faith. We got to step out there. We got to do something. We have to do something other than just sitting around trying to figure out how to be safe. And as Sister Ava says, living on a reptilian level and always thinking about survival. We have to go into our creative space. So, all right, y'all, with that, we ask for your continued support. Become a sponsor of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House. The email address is here. If you want a sponsorship package, go ahead and get the package. If you know of podcasts you want me to be on, you want me to come talk about the work that I'm doing with the Mind of an Entrepreneur, the new consulting practice that I started with preservation, I'm willing to do that. You can send me an email here as well, and I'll respond to you and let you know. We have a few more of the free business coaching sessions that I'm going to do next week. So those of you who signed up for your business coaching session, I want you to do a video and tell everybody what you got out of it and if it helped you. Everybody said that they were really excited and that I was able to help them. Allah bless me to kind of tune in to each and every one of them and give them some solutions. And if you want to book me for a coaching session, just go to any of my social media pages, click the link in the bio, and you'll find the link for booking a coaching session. And when you book a session, I'll give you one free, because that first session is kind of going to be like an assessment. And then the second session is where we're going to put together a plan of action. And if you want to do something ongoing on a long-term basis, which is what I encourage you to do, whether you want me to be on your board of advisors or to just set up some long-term coaching and mentorship, we can talk about what the fee is going to be for that as well. So, all right, family, I put that up there. You see going across the screen. Let's make sure that we support. This is the 58th month that I've been working on this project. That is Surah 58, the pleading woman. And I'm pleading with you all and to support. I see you all in the chat. See you excited. Look, support. Get your coin, make a donation, whether it's credit card or cash, however you want to do it. Become a sponsor. But this is so critical and it's so very, very, very important. I had no idea when I started down this road of preservation that, I'm going to say I had no idea, but I think I understood it in theory. But I'm very clear now that there's been over 400 years of keeping our history away from us and altering our history and changing our history. And that's what we're up against in the preservation world. And y'all know we are absolutely up against that with the completion of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad House that has the full and complete support of our beloved minister. And he's just so kind and so gracious and so beautiful. So we ask that you all continue to support. Right now, we need sponsorships. I have a birthday coming up. So if you all want to know what can you do, I'm happy to go out to dinner and all that stuff, but make a donation. That's what you can do for me on my birthday. So whatever money you was going to spend, make a donation. Let's push and let's get this done. We need to sell the sponsorship. So if you know somebody with some deep pockets who have over $2,500 and up, sponsorships go from $2,500 up to $250,000. And of course, we'll take more. Then let them know. Give them the email address. Let me put it back up here for you. And ask them to support. We'll put their name in the house. They'll be secure there. Just like when you go to these historic spaces, it'll tell you who's all the sponsor, and their name will get some recognition. So, all right, family. I don't know who we have coming up this Thursday. I hope you all enjoyed Reverend Dylan last week. I know not as many people look at stuff a lot of times when we have people from outside of our community that comes to talk to us, but you should really go back and listen to the Mind of an Entrepreneur show I did last Thursday with Reverend Dylan, because he gave some really strong and powerful strategic solutions for helping to bridge the gap between our African brothers in business when it comes to manufacturing and distribution and us over here. And he's got a beautiful conference coming up where he's going to be helping people to get government contracts. That's in November. Just really great. I've already talked to some of my friends from Africa and encouraged them to come over. I don't know if there's a virtual edition, but those of us right here in the States, we may feel like individually we can't do much, but if we pool our resources and come together, we can create a distribution. It may just be one store that we set up that can offer goods and services, for example, that come from the continent, but we have to start bridging and filling the crack that was left, or the cavern that was created between us as a result of slavery. It's going to require relationships. It's going to require marriages. It's going to require interfaith. It's going to require us to really be intentional about bridging that gap and coming together with our people throughout the rest of the diaspora, but of course on the continent of Africa. So go back and listen to Reverend Dylan. I think you all will find it very fascinating. I think you'll be excited to attend the Resurgence Conference. And so you just go to resurgenceconference.com to get registered. It's actually in Harlem in November. So I think it'll be a fun time, fun and interesting. So, all right, family. Thank you, Mrs. Phoenix, for the $10. And a couple of you all have sent over. Let's see, who said that? Leisha said, I'm interested in tuning into the government contracting. So, Sister Leisha, go back and listen to the show with Reverend Dylan. He gives some information on how you can get into government contracting. You also have Sister Melissa Muhammad with the company Blacks and Global. She can help you get into international trade and contracting. But go first and listen to Reverend Dylan and register for the conference. And then also look up Blacks in Global, Sister Melissa Muhammad. So, all right, family, peace and blessings. I appreciate you all. Love you all. Thank you very much. And let me just give y'all a little reminder before we go. Don't hang up. Don't click off. And we'll see you all Thursday.
Muslims, you shouldn't be around here looking to white people to give you a job. Go look in message to the black man and the economic blueprint. And if there are 4 of you, 6 of you, 8 of you together, pool your resources, go into business and set up business all over the south and west side of Chicago. But if you poor and we poor, hell man, we can't be around here poor. I want to see rich Muslims. And if you obey Allah, there's no reason why you can't make a business successful. You just have to get up and stop being lazy and trifling and go do something for yourself. And I'm saying this to all of us. Our people are ready to spend their money with their own. There's no time better than this for 6 or 8 of you to pool your money and look in the community and open up a store to fulfill the needs of our people, and we will support you. It's your time now. That's being a man. Supporting your own people that are in business. Going into business yourself. Think out of the box. What can you create that will put black people to work?
Greetings, conscious entrepreneurs. Add the Mind of an Entrepreneur show to your Roku TV lineup and catch up on past episodes of all your favorite Mo Today shows.